I'm Brian Hiatt. This is Rolling Stone Music Now. Today, I'm bringing you an interview with Teezo Touchdown, a really interesting rapper and singer who's been everywhere recently. A few days after we talked, he popped up on the new Drake album, For All the Dogs, on the track Amen.
Pray until you find amen. That's gonna feed you.
That's only a couple weeks after the release of Teezo's own debut, How Do You Sleep at Night, an unabashed rap rock album that, by the way, Drake called the best music ever. Teezo was also featured on Travis Scott's Utopia. We recently did an episode on that album, and on Lil Yachty's own rock album, Let's Start Here, which we also talked about at the time. Teezo grew up in Beaumont, Texas. He played trombone and marching band, and his dad was a DJ, so music was always around him. He's had what sounds like a long, rocky path to the music business, including his own time as a DJ and a period when he found himself sleeping in his car as he commuted to Houston from Beaumont for a restaurant job to fund his music career. As we discussed, something about Teezo's persona and music tends to spark polarized reactions. And his new album, which again fits into the long and sometimes checkered history of rap rock more than any other category, has gotten both raves and some intense pans, including one from Rolling Stone itself. But I'm a fan, and I think you'll find this is a really interesting conversation. I was going to say, I'm a big fan of the album. It's full of musicality and musical surprises from start to finish, and it never stops being interesting. And that's a thing that's missing from so much music in 2023.
Yeah, thank you. That's one of my favorite compliments I like to hear about the album is the musicianship. And you're the second time I've heard someone say, like, when you listen to a song, like something changes, nothing happens like twice, and there's so many surprises. So they zoom out and hear things like that. I'm just really proud of myself and all of the other collaborators we had on it.
Since you were part of the Yachty album from earlier this year, and there's at least one collaborator who's also on that album, how much commonality was there between those two album processes from what you know about it, and how much was totally different?
We got the Raisin brothers, Sad Pony, Justin Raisin, and we also have Fouché, who's been, turning everything to gold that she's been touching. So it was cool to have her a part of it as well. I think I learned from everyone who I'm honored to be like in the studio with, and just seeing like how do they conduct themselves in studios or like their creative process. But for the Yachty session, it was just musicianship through and through, just a studio full of just talented musicians. So I think that's probably the common denominator, just the musicianship that was inside of the rooms. I'm sure I was only there for that one session, but I'm sure Yachty's ear and his production as well, I'm sure it was the same musicianship in those studios as well.
Now, was there ever anyone coming in with, here's a finished beat, do you want to write something, or was it always almost like jamming in the studio?
Yeah, I prefer jamming. I have this term that I say I don't want to get beat to death, which is a producer just playing their work. And it's really, everyone's talented at this level, but I feel like most of the time when people play me production, they probably didn't have me in mind for the most part. Sometimes they'll tell me if they do have me in mind. And sometimes looking at a full production can be intimidating just as much as looking at a blank Pro Tools session. Sometimes I'm intimidated when someone gives me a complete thing, because I feel like a big chunk of that is already songwriting. They usually already have the verse picked out, what would be the hook, what goes first and second. So I think I like creating from scratch, one, because it's more personal, and I'm able to tackle this huge production. If you look at the Daddy Mama drama.
I'm about to never curse in front of my parents. But what about the curse that we're all sharing?
Or you thought,
they probably think that we engage, how much you stay over my place. They probably think that I live in a cave, the way that we stay out the way. You probably think that I live in the city, the way I make you feel safe.
Like those all starting from like a guitar riff and then building up into the musical piece we have now. I think it's better for me to work at it like that. But I also do look at that as exercise to hop on an already produced beat. Since I know that is a weak point of mine, I like to work that out as well.
When you talk about don't beat me to death, it's you don't want to do that thing. I've been in the studio with rappers where it's like And it's amazing to see it happen, but you'll hear a beat 100 times. It'll be playing and playing, and they'll be sitting there trying to come up with something, and then they'll go to the booth. If you talk about straight hip hop, that's the way a lot of hip hop records are made, right? But that's what you don't like, essentially, right?
No, absolutely. I always say I'm an MC at heart through and through. I think even me, I used to not be a big fan of demos. Me being like an MC at heart, I would be like, all right, that's the song, and that's it. Like, we get on with the song, that's it. We're on to the next one. What else sticks from that? Yeah, I feel like getting played beats over and over. I still sometimes I don't like to get beat to death, but I do like going through the depths of YouTube and finding just producers on there. Then I'll go through their beats all day, but something about someone presenting me beats sometimes a little intimidating and a little, I'm probably just won't have what I'm looking for. But on the other end of that, I am very easy. I know exactly what I'm looking for. So I always tell the producers, like, if I'm going through beats, don't feel any type of way about it. I know exactly what I'm looking for, and it's a high possibility that you may have it.
When I heard that what Drake said about your album, it's brought up constantly, some of the best music ever. My first thought was, oh man, that is a blessing and a curse. And I've seen you talk about it the same way, because it sets up expectations and it sets up a frame, and it's just, in some ways, it's begging for a backlash too, right? It's a tricky thing.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing, but I feel like the backlash was only attacked at my feelings or like me as just being a human. But I always knew that the musicianship, the songwriting, and everything was strong. That's why once we had the body where it is, I was excited and eager to initiate conversation like that. I would love to play the album because I knew what I was sitting on, and I know what I put out in the world. The attacks were only attacked to me, the human. To the artist, it rose right off.
You said for a minute you were like hearing it with the haters' ears somehow. What was that? Tell me how that worked. That's interesting.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I've never felt that before. It was really weird. It was scary that I heard it like, wait, it was weird. It never happens to me before. I've seen negative comments before. I've had it before. It's nothing new. But for that day, for some reason, I can literally hear it. And I never want to experience that again, whatever that was.
Yeah. And then the other funny thing you said was, someone said the album was polarizing, and you said you had to look up polarizing. Now that you looked it up, I feel like if it is quote unquote polarizing, you made it that way on purpose.
Wait, I'm looking it up again. It's funny, I'm doing rehearsals right now and I can remember all of these songs, but let's see. Polarized, restricted vibrations of, cause something. Oh, let's see. Divide or cause divide into two sharply contrasting groups or sets of opinions or beliefs. No, I didn't go in mind with knowing that it would be a divide. I just wanted to reach whoever it was connected to. I think as you live life, you'll start to see a lot of things aren't so just off to you. I feel like we all have these similar experiences. So I always think that I'm trying to reach the people who we all have some things in common. I'm just trying to reach those people. So I wasn't really worried about making a divide. I just wanted to make sure, as a fan, I made the best effort possible from the metronome all the way out to the end of the song. I kind of just combed through it like that. It was just very, not hard on myself, but just combing through, make sure there's no filler lines, making sure that is this bridge going for too long? What's the point of this right here? I think I just wanted to make a great body of work just for a fan to experience.
Would it be fair to say that maybe you weren't concerned with making an album for everyone, though? You wanted to make an album for the people who got it. Because some people are like, I'm going to make this broad mass appeal. It's for everyone. But it feels like you were a little more specific, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I think Bun B has a quote. He was like, your first album is for like your city. I want to say he broke it up, but I'm going to just paraphrase. I think the first album is like for your city. The second album is for like the world. And then the third album is for you. I think mine is ever since I've been writing, I think it's been a combination of all three. I think when I first started doing making songs and stuff, it was really just for my friend group, my cities. I would drop like landmarks that only people from my city would understand. And then I understood that, all right, I have to make something in Beaumont, Texas that someone in Minnesota, someone in New York, someone in LA, someone in Japan or whatever can also relate to. So I think I did it for all three. I did it for myself, my city, and for the world.
I think the first time you really fucked with rock, got guitars into your music, was with 100 drums.
Coming where I'm from, you'll be dumb not to have one. Every time we go, I to have one. It's a fucking rock band with 100 drums.
So that ends up being a key song for you, I think.
It's funny. I was just thinking about that. Cause I scroll through my photos sometimes and just looking at right before I filmed 100 drums. And I filmed the video right before that. And because I already had made the change aesthetically of going to the rock before I even did it like sonically. and this is what I look like. So it had the very like rock type. It was very much so hip hop trap, but my top lines were definitely rock. And I don't know where it seeped from. I want to say it come from the outside and then it seeped in because I was already painting my nails, had the hair, and I think it just seeped in when I went to the studio. This is what I look like. So this is when I make something sonically. But yeah, just thank you to Panic at the Disco for even making that song. Because I feel like, when I looked at that video, I thought, man, if I didn't do that, I'm pretty sure it would have been something. But right now, in this storyline, it was Panic at the Disco. Great song. I think that's a testament to their songwriting and their production. That's something can transpose over to this artist. And every time you hear that, every time you hear an artist do a cover to that, it makes you stop for just a 2 seconds. When you hear that piccato strings, all right, since not tragedies, you're going to stop.
Yeah.
So I credit all of that to them.
And once you made that song, did it start to become clear, like, oh, this is a direction I can pursue for some time? This could be my thing?
Absolutely, because I always knew I wanted to cut through. We'll start, before we even get to the world, I just want to cut through what me and my friends are making. Like, how can I stand out here? Which I always did, but like I feel like with the rock element, that was my first time like moving like another genre. And other than like R&B, which I feel like aren't, all of the genres to me are pretty mixed and married now, especially now in like mainstream music. But we weren't really adding rock into it, other than just the punk aesthetic of what punk being so minimalistic. But sonically, I hadn't done that, or anyone around me hadn't done that yet.
Your dad's a DJ. That played into you hearing more kinds of music than most people. But how much rock guitars were a part of your listening growing up? Other
than hearing Prince and maybe like some Michael Jackson guitar riffs here and there on albums, other than that, very light. We heard a lot of music, Earth, Wind, and Fire, but as far as rock, it was very few and far. I think what started introducing me to that is getting ready for school in the morning and watching the music videos on MTV and hearing and discovering I Write Sense, Not Tragedies and Green Day and all of this stuff. Like, so it was really that. So even now, like MTV, I want to say the VMA is about to go on their 40th anniversary or something like that. Like, for them to still be like introducing people to new music I'm a testament to the powers of music television. The chorus of OK, the opening track on your album, could be like a Weezer song.
Hide the body of life that's standing in your way. Okay, I'm gonna do it anyway.
I think that's just a mesh of music and like sonics. It's the one thing you can close your eyes and not see, you can close your mouth and not talk, but you can't do this and not hear anything. So I mean, going to retailers, going to the mall, shopping at Hot Topic, you're hearing these songs subliminally. You're watching MTV, VH1 all day. So I'm sure, and Weezer is a smashing group that's crossed over to like everyone knows a Weezer song. So I think it's impossible for bands like that and their influence to not seep into what I have. There is a history, obviously, of rap rock crossover. It goes back quite a long time. You have things like Run DMC obviously going way back, did rock songs, but a lot of it went from the other side for everything from Limp Bizkit to Rage Against the Machine. Have you gone and listened to that stuff at all? No, I haven't. I haven't listened to the Jay-Z album that he did with, I'm not sure the band.
Linkin Park. Yeah, Linkin Park, yeah.
No, I haven't heard that. No, I haven't went over into the crossovers. One crossover I did find is a Craig David crossover on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Which, when I was doing my research for Rock and Boom, it definitely inspired me. It's a Fill Me In cover, but they mashed it with this death metal song. And I guess if you typed it in YouTube, you can find it. I hope you find it, because it's really a gem. So yeah, I didn't really dive into that mashup happening as much as it would seem. I hope someone, when they hear me, that they dive in and not be like me, but you know. Tell me about You Thought with Janelle Monáe.
Probably think that we engage, how much you stay over my place. They probably think that I live in the cave, the way they wish they other way. You probably think that I live in the state, the way I make people safe.
How did that one come together?
I believe that came together right as I was wrapping up my song 5 o'clock with Oogie Mane and Kimchi. And Tyler Cole was coming to the studio. I had a double that day. I say double because that's what I used to say when I used to be a bartender. But I had a double that day, and Tyler Cole comes in, and it's like I've been doing like 3 or 4 days with Humane and Kimchi to doing these hard, just bodacious songs. And then Tyler Cole comes in and it's, all right, I don't want to have him just come into this world that I already have. I do want to hit a switch. I want to see what talent that he brings. And So we started with. It's funny. I still have the demo. I still have the demo now of You Thought. It had more of a reggae bounce at first, and when we added the syncopated drums, that gave me the influence for the rhythm. I love finding a flow sometimes that kind of does like that, and those are intimidating too, because once I have this flow that's so intricate like that, I have to fill in the words with the syllables and stuff like that. But for You Thought, I think a little bit of my wit just shined on that, and that's how we get a Nicolas Cage bar in there. And then again, with that flow being so imitating, I hit a wall on it, and I was like, all right, let's go to something else. And then next thing happened to be the second half of You Thought. And I was working that out, and then I was like, let's smash these two together. I do that. I tend to take my weaknesses and put them on the forefront and use them to my advantage. So I use that writer's block, or like, all right, this is the end of this idea. Let me match it with something else to give you this complete idea. So that's how you have You Thought.
And I think you just shot a video for Impossible.
Maybe they wanted to go to art school, but their parents said, sorry, we can't. Maybe it was a mix of all three of those colors.
And I love the sincerity of that song. Very sincere, inspirational message, which people get afraid to be sincere. They want to hide behind layers of what they're saying. They don't want to go out and just say what you're saying. And that's something that makes that song really likable. Tell me about writing that and getting that out there.
Impossible was the last thing that we did for the record. That was the very last day of recording. My engineer, Andrew Keller, is probably one of the best. He's fast, he's creative. And a lot of the vocal production and stuff that you hear, that's me and Andrew going back and forth with that. But towards the end of the session, of the recording process, I just wanted to go very stripped down and minimal. And so that's what you hear on the tone. It's not really melodic, it's just that. And then also going to the Raisin Brothers, yes, their musicianship, but also their knowledge. Before we would go in, we would just talk music, and I was like, hey, show me some artists that are not known as great singers, but they have these songs that touch the world. So they played me a few of those. I won't say who those artists are. Played me a few of those, and yeah, I just went in.
I really want to hear who these artists are, though.
No, it's not even, and I'll say one that I gave the reference for, and it's not, I'll say the boss, Bruce Springsteen. Because I was on a Bruce Springsteen kick for a little minute. Just had discovered like his first project, seeing how DIY and how bedroom pop he was going into that. So I pulled up Bruce Springsteen, and they showed me a few more examples. So yeah, with Impossible, it was the minimalism of, all right, I want to strip it down just to me. As far as my vocal production, I don't want to overly sing. I just want to just have this flow of consciousness, and the song just really bled and just came out of me. I didn't say like, all right, this is I'm gonna overcome this kind of song. It was just it just bled out of me. And I've been doing rehearsals, and it's really fun to perform. This whole album has been fun to rehearse, and well, not perform yet, to rehearse. And that's a big sign to me, because when I was doing like my older records, Sucker, Careful, all of that, it would be not awkward on stage, but it's just before I did any really shows and going on tours and stuff. So going on tours really showed me subliminally and intentionally how to write songs for that call and response, kind of writing those breaks in. And Impossible is definitely one of those I'm super excited to perform. And also, like you said, the message to really spread that personally to everyone.
The harmonies on this song are amazing.
I know that you're nervous. I'm kind of nervous too.
How'd those get in there?
So I give a lot of credit to my vocal production, to me being in marching band, playing the trombone, which the trombone and marching band usually takes over like the chorus, basically the chorus. So like I've always grew up with harmonies, but also Dante Davis, who is a artist from my hometown, who the voice you also hear on in the backgrounds. He was the singer first, and he would be in the studio and just finding these harmonies, and I would ask him like, yo, how do you do that? And he was like, yo, I just hear it. And so I use a combination of that little information of he just hears it, all right, and then also in marching band we usually play 4-part harmony. So let me just mash those together, and then also discovering like a Queen, and then hearing like a All Dead, and so just basically the Queen vocal production, hearing stuff like that, R&B backgrounds, and just mashing those. So what you're hearing is a mash of all of those things, and we're spending about sometimes 3 to 4 hours just on harmonies alone.
Wow. You play bass, right? Do you actually play bass on the album?
No, but I had the bass. I didn't even write the I wrote the bass of, what is it called? Mood Swings, and I just gave it to Brennan. I always say I producer play piano, I producer play bass. Right. I give it to the musicians I always say, all right, take this and graduate it. No actual bass on this album, unfortunately.
Do you, on Familiarity, you sing you believe in aliens? Do you actually believe in aliens?
I think that's just an extreme of how much I don't believe in luck. But I'm sure there's something out there. Absolutely. I always look at how beautiful the plants are, the mountains are, the stars are. There has to be. I'm not that self-centered to believe that this is all here. It's definitely something out there.
I think it's that song you have that like sort of yo-yo vocal thing that's really fun. I like that because it shows you're not afraid to be playful on this album.
Oh no, I'm not afraid to be playful at all. I think that's always been like in my DNA. I don't know what it was, but I always just like to laugh. I always just like to be in a good laugh. And also when people express their feelings about the album, that's one thing that I'm constantly seeing, how fun this album is. And we had a blast making this. I'm glad that it translates. We're laughing in the studio. We're making insiders. We're watching funny movies. We're just having a ball. I'm glad that translates.
I know that you scrapped, there were like different versions. Was that different versions of the same songs or an entire different track listing, or how did that work as far as what you got rid of from the first tries at this album?
It was just a few songs that we just swapped out. Some really good written, produced songs. But I feel like the first project that I had was more of a, look, I can do this, I can do that, I can also do this. I think when I did that one, but then immediately when I quote unquote said that the album was done, I started working on like the next project. I just kept recording, and I knew I had this rock and boom thing on my mind. And that's what I started working on for the next project, to just give this concentrated rock and boom sound. And then I also thought, while I'm working on this other project and we're planning on maybe dropping another project, I was like, I don't want to have that, I have this another chance to give this first impression of this is great music. So I wanted to make sure that I put my first impression as being this complete body of work. So we seen the response of the content that we were putting out. And then also, I just wasn't listening to my album. Like, I just wasn't listening to it. Like, I knew the songs were good, but I wasn't in a rush to go listen to it. And then it got to a point when we got the sequences together for the new project, and that's all I can listen to. When people would ask me, what are you listening to right now? I'm like, surprisingly, my album. And that's a lot coming from me. I'm usually the last person to listen to my music, but this album, I'm so excited to, as soon as I press start on it, I have to finish the whole thing.
So do you have stuff that you're holding on for the next project, basically? You have stuff ready? I think, like I said, the MC in me, I think I just made those songs and I just have them now. I like going in fresh with these new experiences, this new anything. It's really rare that I'll pull up something that we've already worked on. Got it. You had such a specific concept for this album, and I know you think a lot about your work. Have you already started thinking about a concept for the next thing? No, I've just been really present and enjoying just having my first album out, having it been out for 3 Fridays. I'm looking forward to the 8th of this month to say, all right, it's been out a month. I've just been really just taking this whole process in. So I've still been creating, but it's not like for an album or anything. It's really just been more other side projects, which are even more exciting and fun because it's the less pressure of, oh, this is the next body of work or whatever. It's just me making music and having fun, which I'll probably continue once I start on the next project. I think the thing in the industry, everyone's about the first day, the first week. And, I think it is still early for you in every way. I think that we only seen the beginning of the reaction to this album, and certainly you're at the very beginning of your career. I know that the body of work is there. I know that that's really my concern. And of course, I look at me from downloading the Billboard 100 every weekend since elementary school, looking at that every weekend. Like, of course, we know, the stats of what we do. But to be 100% transparent, my team told me yo, expect a long game here, because that's what we're expecting. So I'm just working project person by person, literally at a time, responding to one person every day. I'm building it from the ground up, really touching the people. So the stats, I'm not really, as a fan, I still look at them, but I'm not applying them to me yet. I'm looking at the people how many people do I get to talk to a day, because I can control that. The goal of the album wasn't to show how you can hang as an MC. Might have confused people who were expecting you to come more as an MC. I don't know. Yeah, I've been thinking and playing with the idea. I think to most people, it doesn't look like they're supposed to like me. It doesn't look like
you're supposed to like you listen to Teezo Touchdown and you show them a picture of me, I'm not sure what you expect, but a lot of people, I think the gripe is I just don't look like I'm supposed to be, what you hear or whatever. Some people it looks like it does fit, but as far as me showcasing the MC, I think that's on every song that there's words, because I feel like that's what really leads my pen. The wit and stuff is all me coming from like a rapper standpoint.
Yeah, you said hip hop is rock and roll, which is a great quote.
Yeah, I was talking to someone who went to the Yachty show yesterday in Boston, and she was like, it was her first. She called it her first rap show, and she was like, it was crazy. I was like, yeah. She said she wasn't expecting that, but I was like, yeah, rap shows and like hardcore shows are pretty much a marriage of what's going on in the floor. So I feel like genres are already kind of married. Like, same reason that an R&B artist take off the shirt, same reason that a rapper take off his shirt. Like, it's the same reason a rock star takes off his shirt. We're all just married,
I would imagine that the success of the Yachty album was inspirational, or at least encouraging, given what you wanted to do, that the world maybe was ready for this kind of thing.
I think that everything before me is necessary. Everything before me is necessary for me to get here. I had a friend of mine ask me, yo, why do you think it took so long for it to happen for you? And one, that's just my story. And number two, I think certain artists had to happen for me to be here. Bun B even said it himself. Certain things had to happen for a Teezo Touchdown to exist. We had to have a Trinidad James. We had to have a Lil Yachty. We had to have a Chance the Rapper. We had to have all of these artists, these polarizing artists. We have to have a Drake. You have to have a Future. I can go on and on to what makes the landscape for the next artist and the next wave to benefit from their hard work that they put in. So absolutely, if you want to, I give Yachty the credit, one, for being one of the first people to pour into me and tell me how big I'm going to be and how mega I'm going to be. He was one of the first to tell me that and look me in my eyes and tell me that. So absolutely, keep your eyes on Lil Yachty. He's burning it up. He's ripping it up right now. Absolutely.
Janelle Monáe was the first person you played this album for. What does she have to say about it? It's so obvious to me that it's down the lane of shit she would like, but I'm curious.
Yeah, a lot of great things. Everyone at Wonderland would just point it to me, tell me how much they loved it. But the one thing that really stuck to me, she was like, it's not perfect, but I love that it's not perfect. And I feel like for a debut album, I think that's what you want to hear. Like, I feel like a lot of people want to put like all their marbles on this whole Teezo Touchdown thing from album number 1 to decide whether I'll be here or not, or whether this will last. I think this is just my album number 1. This is just me extending my hand saying, hello, my name is Teezo Touchdown. How do you sleep at night?
I know some people heard you for the first time on Travis's album. That album, Utopia, is full of features. Against some of the biggest names out there, I think you have one of the most memorable features on that album. Tell me about being drawn into his process and what that whole thing was like, because it seems like it was a whole machine behind that album.
Thank you for listening to the album and supporting it. I'm just thankful to be a part of it. And I think what was that like? Just seeing how excited he is to work, how excited he gets about art. I think that's the most inspirational thing that I've ever seen. Just how you see it when you see videos of him. I'm like, he's jumping off the walls when he hears his music. He really loves this art thing. I think that's so inspirational when I run into people who are doing it at this high level and they love what they do. They have this childlike love for what they do. But to be on a Travis Scott album, I can't even, it's one of the moments I have to pinch myself, because I remember when my friend first showed me Travis Scott, and he was like, yo, there's this dude named Travis Scott, man. He from right up the street from Houston. He showed me him on 106 in Park when Kanye was up there, and he just looked like off to the left, like super quiet. But then he also showed me the Quintana music video, and just seeing his imagery and just how he came out of the gate. And to see where he is now, to be this blockbuster artist, this blockbuster force. Same thing with Tyler, the Creator. Like, when you see these, I remember first seeing these artists when they're just starting out, and to see where they're at now and where they're placed as far as the highest level that we're doing this, it's really amazing to see it, to even be a part of both of those projects. I'm truly thankful, because I remember where I was when I first heard the name Tyler, the Creator, Travis Scott. So for so many people to say, hey, I discovered you from the Tyler album, from the Travis album, it just keeps on paying forward to how I discovered him.
What shape was that song, Modern Jam, in when you got there?
Rocking. rocking from what you hear now. As soon as you hear it, how it jerks you, that's exactly how it was in that studio. It was zooming. It was already zooming.
And that particular vocal style you use on that song, where did that come from? The way you were singing on that?
What is that? I think if we want to pinpoint her research processes, just look at all great frontmans in rock and roll. Look at a Phil Lynott, look at a Freddie Mercury, look at a David Bowie, look at a Prince. You just go down the list of just top frontmen. I'm sure Rolling Stone probably has a list of top frontmen. I'm pretty sure I've read that before, like top. But I'm sure I read that I think I vividly remember reading that from my research when it was like top mans of all time or whatever. So go read down that list. I think that's how you get to a song like Modern Jam.
Yeah, to be real, when I first heard that, I said, is Teezo like doing a David Bowie type thing? Because that was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, that was just me being my best front man that I could. That's my front man voice right there.
Like some kind of British front man, it felt like.
Yeah, and I gotta give Travis some more love for that. When I first discovered him, I noticed he would talk like in like this kind of tone or whatever. But he's from Houston, most city. But during that time, he was traveling in Paris and to everywhere producing. So maybe that's what we were hearing. So yeah, I think something about us Americans and just hearing an accent just dropped us wild.
So when you first busted out with that in the studio, what was his reaction?
I couldn't see into the control room. It was just a rectangle of light. I had the lights off in the studio though. Just in my suit, chain neck. Matter of fact, I wore the exact same thing that I wore when I recorded Run It Up, funny enough. Same outfit, both songs, same suit.
I was going to ask about Run It Up. And Tyler and working with him, touring with him, obviously such an interesting artist. What are some of the things you learned from him that people might not expect?
How to change up your set list. That's one, as far as the tour aspect of it. Number two, how to take critique, what to read, what to keep, what to discard of. What else? His professionalism, his repetition every night, his love for what he does. I think that, and also to initially see them at the Woody Awards in Austin, to now see him on this arena tour. I think seeing that, even without him saying that, just seeing that growth, I think this told me everything that I need to know and what the standard to how to reach that. Even if it was just a glimpse of a tour or a studio session.
And so now, you're going out with Travis. Can you tell me a little bit, give him more of a sense of what those performances are going to be like as opening for him?
Yeah, I think if you see me on the Call Me If You Get Lost tour, I think expect to see a jump, a growth. What else can I tell you? Expect to hear the album in a great fashion. I had Tyler Cole and Y2K work on it. I watched the Doja Cat BMA performance, which was a 5-minute medley, but she put 3 songs in. And I reached out to find out who did that, and we got connected with them. And yeah, so I'm excited for you to hear this theatric showbiz medley of this album, How Do You Sleep at Night. I'm so excited. I can't wait to go to rehearsals right now. Like I've been there like all day, like just performing is really fun. I can't wait for you to hear it.
I did want to ask about the song Too Easy. There's an old song called School's Out by Alice Cooper that I don't know if it was drawing from deliberately or just a coincidence.
I think that's just going down the rock and roll, just, the school book, to have a song like that, to have a Too Easy, to have a Too Easy, to have a We Will Rock You, to have a School's Out. I think that's, you want something. I think, and also that comes from seeing a Tyler, the Creator, seeing Turnstile perform, seeing a Trippie Redd perform, seeing everyone perform, and just seeing how their songwriting is influenced to the live show. You want something that the crowd can sing along to. You want something you can sing along to in your car. So I think that's all come from the school book of rock and roll and then also going to shows.
Your kind of earliest musical memories, like what were kind of the things that kicked off? I know you talked about Drumline, but what was the music you heard around the house that kind of first sparked your interest?
Everything that you would hear in the South. Earth, Wind & Fire, Marvin Gaye, Prince, Michael Jackson, the who's who. But one of my first musical memories was getting in trouble for rapping Notorious Thug.
You know who? Fuck a few female stars or two. Then I blew like niggas blew like Mike. Shit, not to be fucked with. Motherfucker better duck quick. Cause me and my dogs love buck shit. Fuck the luck.
So I went to a Baptist preschool or whatever. And I just remember getting in trouble for rapping but we're trying to rap that song. It's like moments like that. It's that moment. It's when I was DJing, seeing kids running terror from me playing 3-6 Mafia to seeing fights break out to Little John. I think those are like the memories that really like when I was seeing, it felt like the music was like fueling something. So I think those are like the memories that like stick in my head the most about music.
Have we mostly heard your early attempts at recording, or is there stuff, super early stuff that the world's never heard?
You can pretty much find it. I think 2018, I have 2 projects from there you can probably still find. And if you find anything earlier than that, please send it to me because I'm looking for it too. I'm looking through my email every day just to see little remnants of stuff like that. Like when I talk to people and they're like, oh, my friend makes music, but like he just started making music, but it sucks. I'm like, yo, I can play you something right now from Teezo Touchdown that is atrocious. So keep going. Trust me. I think that's what I'm looking for. I like to do these exciting things, to go on these tours, to put out a debut album, and I like to go down to my Gmail and find the most horrible thing I did just to look at that kid and be like, yo, keep going, because thank you for making that, because you making that got me right here.
Who do you look at now and say, this is the kind of career I want to have?
I think you can look at them. It's so many. I think everyone who I pretty much named, like I was there when girls are putting you on to Drake for the first time, and like you can hear the discourse on the blog just saying, is this corny, will this last? And even him saying we'll see who's around a decade from now, and him being the artist of the decade, seeing like the Tyler the Creator thing, seeing them from that all the way to him going on an arena tour. Seeing Travis Scott be the quiet producer on the far left in the 106 & Park video, to seeing him go on this arena/stadium tour. I think those are like, the history goes on, but I think those are the ones that stick to my mind of just really seeing them as small, quote unquote, small artists and go on to really be like running and leading this. It's really insane. So I think those are who I'm looking at, because as a fan, I was able to see them grow and accomplish who knows what goals they have, but they sure did scratch off a few of mine for sure.
You've had all these high profile features. Now that your album is out, are you still going to be having features on people's albums, or you want to pull back from that a little bit?
I'm always there to help and create. I don't look at it like, all right, this is like the next feature. I'm always down to get in the studio with people and just practice. This is something I love to do and I love to get better at it. Collaborations, I feel like, is a huge part of why my sound is what it is, to be able to talk to people, ask for advice. So I don't think I'm gonna ever cut that waterfall off of getting in the studio. There's so much that I told on this album, but there's so many more stories that I can't wait to jump into. But like I said, How Do You Sleep at Night is just me extending my hand. It's a nice icebreaker to a long relationship.
And that's our show. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, subscribe to Rolling Stone Music Now, wherever you get your podcasts. And please leave us 5 stars and a nice review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, because that's always appreciated. But as always, thanks so much for listening, and we will see you next week.